this is so like out of it. Like there's a lot of random thoughts, so I apologize in advance. Um, there's no like flow for this video. I'm just ranting. All right, so I finally finished Final Fantasy VII Remake. I 100%ed it, got all the trophies. And I feel really, really good about it. This video is not a review. It's not gonna tell you what you should do. It's not gonna even give a score. I'm not giving a score. I just basically want to ramble about this game because there's so many thoughts in my head and there's so many things that I want to talk about and experience with everybody else. So I'm just gonna do that. First of all, if you've been thinking about getting this game but you're on the fence about it because you're like, it's Final Fantasy VII, not 1, don't worry. Get the game. Biggest advice to you is don't worry about the number where you're starting because this story is very new. Final Fantasy VII, I personally have never played any other Final Fantasy. The only other Final Fantasy I've ever played was Crystal Chronicles, which I don't even know what number that was, and I was like 7. So take all the numbers with a grain of salt. Final Fantasy VII is super, super easy to understand. Like, there's just a couple of key characters that you need to know, which is not horrible, because think of games like Kingdom Hearts, which is another game made by Nomura, who made this game, and the original he was a part of. There's a lot of different characters that you need to know, but with Final Fantasy VII, there's just Cloud, Aerith, Barret, Tifa. Those are like the main 4 that you need to know, and the big main 4 that you need to know for this remake. You don't even have to play the original to play this game, because I know that was another thing that people were kind of on the fence about, myself included. I was like, do I need to play the original to maybe enjoy the game more? No, I think if you played the original, it's a huge thumbs up to you. It's like a lot of nostalgia coming back and getting to see these characters look the way that you thought they looked back in 97 or whenever you played this game, especially with the settings as well. Because I actually just started playing the original, and it's obviously a huge downgrade, but it's super cool to see, like, oh, this is how they made this in the remake, or this is how they made that in the remake, this is how they made her look or him look. So I think that's super cool. But that's only if you want it. You could buy this game right now, the remake, play it, and enjoy yourself completely without knowing about the story, about knowing the characters, about playing any of the other games, and I think that's really, really cool. Other than that, there are so many things that I want to get into about the remake, because the remake itself was just hands down one of the best games I've ever played. Down to the characters, the settings, the music, the story, it was all just really, really good. And I think I really want to point out about this game is that it is a remake, and a lot of people are thinking, oh, that just means the same game I played in 97, but like with 2020 graphics. That's sick. That's not it. That's not all. A remake is not a remaster, and I kind of want to hammer this into a lot of your guys' heads if you didn't think this already. A remake, what's so good about Final Fantasy VII Remake is it's almost like it's a retelling. And they just jam-packed stuff for you to do in this new game, whereas this entire game only takes place maybe within, like I said, 5 to 10 hours of the original. And I think that's really cool, because that gave Nomura and all the developers an approach that I don't think any of us were expecting. We knew that we weren't getting the whole game when this was released, but I don't think any of us knew that there was going to be a total spin on the story, and really there is. So I'm not going to try and spoil anything for you, especially if you are looking forward to playing it and just wanted some insight. I'm not going to spoil anything. I just want to say that to those of you who have played the original and are thinking about buying the remaster, or the remake, sorry, get it. It's a totally different game. It's the same game in nostalgia-wise, and then lots of other cool stuff happens, and it's just fun to see what they're going to do next, because you don't know what's going to happen next. Yeah, you know what's going to happen in the original game, but this isn't the original game, and I think that's what's so fun about this game. I have no idea, no matter how much I play the original game, which I'm going to be finishing, I have no idea what they're going to do next with the new remake. The music is just, I've been literally listening to the soundtrack for the last week, which is super fucking lame, but I have. It's so good. My girlfriend's getting sick of listening to Tifa's theme and the main theme of Final Fantasy VII, but I can't help myself. It's beautiful. It sounds even better now than it did on the original, and I've looked up the original's soundtrack, I've listened to it, and it all sounds great, but this new soundtrack, and it's still cool because the composer, Nobuo Uematsu, he did both. He did the original, and he came back and did the remakes, and that's really cool, because I guess I get to see and hear, I guess, what he really wanted to hear. Every single song, no matter when it's a fight, when it's a random town you're in, you hear it. And I think that's what's so interesting about soundtracks in video games. There are really, really good soundtracks, and then there are soundtracks that you don't really pay attention to, that you don't really care about, that aren't great. You know a soundtrack is good, at least I do, when I'm doing anything just mundane and random in the game. I'm zoned in, and I hear myself humming the song that is being played, or humming a tune that I heard beforehand in a fight or anything like that. So the soundtrack is just phenomenal. You can listen to it anywhere. You'd know exactly what song it is by playing this game, because it's just so captivating. The characters, whether that be the character models, how dynamic all of the characters are, they all look so good, and they feel good, they sound good. The voice actors are actually amazing. As for the way they all developed and the like each character's personality traits, amazing. Cloud was just kind of a prick the entire time, wound up warming up to everybody, which is great. Tifa is very lighthearted and concerned about everybody. Aerith is very sweet. Barrett is very abrasive, and all the supporting actors like Wedge, Jesse, Biggs, Sephiroth's character, Shinra, all these characters were just absolutely amazing. And I know it's like, what are you saying right now? If you haven't played the game, you'll understand as soon as you play it, because I'm just going to tell you, you need to play the game. If you're here, obviously you're on the fence about it, just do it. Pay the money, play the game. It's amazing. And you're going to be pissed off when you're done with it, because you're going to want to play the rest of the game, which means you're going to buy the original for $15 on the PlayStation Network. Not an ad. And you're going to see what happens. And then when the remakes, the sequels come out, you're going to be like, this is amazing. Like I said, I don't even know what's happening right now. I'm just on a rant. This is a very big game to talk about, and I literally don't even have one note written down. I'm just talking about it. Gameplay wise, we'll go there. Gameplay wise, very different than the original. If you don't know, the original was turn-based in a way, whereas think of how Pokemon on the Game Boy was. You get in a wild encounter in the tall grass, your Pokemon comes out, you attack, then they attack, you attack, then they attack. It's essentially the same thing in the original Final Fantasy VII, only there's kind of time where you can put in your inputs and wait, and then the enemies attack you, and then you attack them, and then it goes back and forth. A little weird. It's more turn-based than it isn't. With the remake, they took that and basically made it real time, so that you can attack in real time by, spamming buttons, using spells, all in real time. So that was the biggest thing that everybody was kind of on the fence about. They're all the people that have played the original, they're like, is this going to be good? Personally, I've played both. I like both. I like the way Remake did it 10 million times better. I love being able to control my characters as though I'm literally being them, not just looking at a screen, picking a prompt, and then seeing them attack the enemy. It's cool, and I love that they actually Remake kept that option in the game for the people that wanted to play the more classic way of playing. But I absolutely 100% loved the combat experience. It was fun, it was fluent. I think the only gripe I had with it was that sometimes in the air, the camera can get a little wonky, and the attacks, especially with Cloud, not so much with Tifa, but with Cloud, it's a little hard to attack enemies in the air, which makes it a little tedious, considering if you don't have a ranged weapon character. But other than that, that's like the only gripe I had with combat. Combat wasn't super hard. I think it's really cool. It's hard to master, very easy to learn. And I think that's cool because it makes it more inviting for everybody else. You can just play it on easy and just spam square the entire time and play it for the story. I, on the other hand, played it on the normal difficulty, and then when you beat it the first time, you actually get a hard difficulty. And that was absolutely so much fun. I'm not a person that likes hard difficulties. I never have been. I'm not that kind of gamer. But I really loved this game, and I wanted to 100% it. And obviously one of the trophies is finishing it on hard. And so I did that for the past couple days, and it was such a fun experience. It basically makes the game that much more strategic. So if you are a fan of the original and aren't super stoked on the combat, I think playing it on hard makes it a little bit more strategic and more like, it keeps you thinking like a turn-based game would. I do hope that if you guys do get it, you play it on hard and see that it's really not that difficult, and it's much more fun to be challenged just a little bit more. The replayability of this game is actually higher than you would expect, because without giving too much away, you do have to do stuff in hard mode that you can't do in any other mode. So it kind of gives you more reason to play it. Also, at least I didn't, you don't beat the game with the max level and then all the max materia, because afterwards you get to go back and play all the chapters that you've played, and you can grind out levels, you can level up your materia. It's super fun in that aspect. The only thing that I don't really know what to do now is when you 100% the game, that's when it becomes like, what do I do? Because there's absolutely nothing I can do anymore. My entire player log is filled out. I have all the trophies. I've nerded out on this game for a week straight, and now I kind of just don't really have a reason to play it anymore, and that's kind of why I've gone back to the original. So I would say it's got some replayability, not a ton if you're a completionist like myself. Like I said, this was just a fucking rant, and just basically wanted to get all of what I was thinking off my chest. I think this game is amazing. I really cannot wait for the sequels, and I think if any of you are on the fence about it, just buy the game, play it, and you'll thank me later. It really does a good job of making you feel good about the characters, the setting, the experience, everything about the game. I really can't say much bad about it. Final Fantasy VII Remake is hands down one of the best games I've ever played. If you agree, or if I have swayed you to purchase the game, please let me know in the comments below. Other than that, guys, I am Si-Rants of DK. Here's an outro.